Hello and welcome back to Bits and Bobs. I have here a handful of old British pre-decimal pennies, and now many of you will have had and seen these old pennies, as on the most part they are not very rare or very valuable. Most of these dates are all very common and worth just less than £1 each. But there are some very rare coins, as we can see here from this news article, like the 1933, that sell for six-figure sums. But these ones aren't likely to be found in bulk lots and old collections of pennies. But in today's video, we're going to count down the top 10 rarest old pennies, old pre-decimal pennies that went into circulation. So there's the key. Not ones that already made a few, just a handful, like 7 or so. The ones we're going to count down today all went into circulation and so are possible to find in old bulk lots, at antique shops and charity shops, or in the attic somewhere, ones that you very may well have. The top 10 rarest and most valuable old pre-decimal pennies. We're going to start with number 10 and count down to the rarest old pre-decimal penny in circulation. So let's begin. So then we begin the list with number 10, the 10th rarest pre-decimal penny, and it is this coin here. This is a George V penny, and I'm sure many of us will have many George V pennies. The date that you're looking for is 1926, as 1926 is the 10th rarest of all old pennies, with a mintage of 4,498,519 produced that year of 1926, getting it just into the top 10 rarest of all the old pennies. This gives the coin a value today of around £3 in poor condition, up to around £20 in a nice good condition, and then in the highest grade, almost £200 for this coin in a good grade, as it is a rare coin and one collectors will pay top dollar for if they get it in good condition. So a lovely coin to begin. A nice George V 1920s penny, taking our number 10 spot. Now then, on to number 9, and our 9th rarest is a bit of an older one. It is a Victorian penny, as we can see here, and it is from 1894. So 1894 is the 9th rarest of all pre-decimal pennies, with a mintage of 3,883,452. Its value today for collectors is around £7 or so in a poor condition, around £45 in very fine condition, and then all the way up to £500 in uncirculated grade. So one of these coins without much wear on it, uncirculated grade, just a few dings and scratches from being in the bags at the mint. So an uncirculated one will reach you £500 in this condition, and still in this condition probably around £10. So a good coin to look out for. Very, very nice. And now on to number 8. And the 8th rarest old penny is another Victorian one, as we can see here, and it is from 1864. So 1864 is the 8th rarest date of all old pre-decimal pennies, with a mintage of 3,440,640 produced. So still there are a few, there are millions of these out there, so they are not too hard to find. And if you do find one, the current value of these coins is around £5, £5 or £6 in a worn grade like this, about £30, £40, £50 in the mid-grades, around very fine to extremely fine, and in the top highest grades, uncirculated, it'll sell for around £300 to £400 for a high-grade 1864. So again, one well worth looking out for if you have this 8th rarest date of pre-decimal penny. Now on to number 7, and in 7th place is again a Victoria Younghead coin, and the date is 1880. My coin here isn't the best condition, so I do apologise. The mintage is 3,831, so just barely over 3 million produced back in 1880. The coin will sell for around £3 in a beat-up condition like this, up to around £10 in fine condition, then around £18 to £25 in very fine, about £100 in extremely fine, and again around £400 in the highest uncirculated grade. So again, a coin well worth looking out for in boxes and pots of old pennies. 1880 is a key date, the 7th rarest one to find. Now then, on to number 6, and the 6th rarest one to find is, again, a Younghead Victorian one, and it is from 1878. So 1878 is the 6th rarest year of all of the old bronze pennies, with a mintage of 2,764,470, so less than 3 million produced, and a value of again around £3 in poor condition, about £15 in fine condition, around £100 or so, a little over £100 in extremely fine, and then up to around £400 once again in uncirculated grade. But don't worry if you don't have them in high grades, as some of the coming coins are worth a lot of money even in the lower grades. So let's move on now to the halfway point, number 5. What is the 5th rarest old penny? The 5th rarest old penny is from the reign of Queen Elizabeth II. So an Elizabeth II penny here as the 5th rarest one to find in circulation back in the day, and of course now the 5th rarest one to find in collections today, and it is from the year 1953. So the coronation year of the Queen, 1953, is the 5th rarest of all the old pennies. This coin has a mintage of 1,308,400, so pretty rare, kind of cutting in half the mintages now, only a little over 1 million produced. Now, as it is a newer coin, it has less time to have been lost and worn down, so it will sell for around £2 or £3 in the lower grades, up to around £10 to £20 in the higher grades. Not too valuable, but nonetheless a good coin to get, especially if you buy it in just a batch of bulk lot of coins, bulk lot of Queen Elizabeth II pennies. 1953 is a good date to find, and there we go, taking our 5th spot. Now then, past halfway, on to number 4. What is the 4th rarest old penny? It is from another queen, back to Queen Victoria, young head again, and it is from the date of 1871. So 1871 is the 4th rarest pre-decimal penny. How many were made that year? The coin has a mintage of 1,290,318. So again, not far off only 1 million being produced, a little over 1 million made back in the 1870s, giving it a sales price today around £10 to £15 in a poor grade, around £50 in fine condition, £130 in very fine, £600 in extremely fine, and about £3,000. So the price is now going very much higher. £3,000 for this coin in a higher grade, but still £10 in a lower grade, a very nice return, as often you buy these in bulk lots and they average out to about 10 pence a coin. So 1871 for 10 pence will be a steal of a century, as they sell for £10 even in this condition here. So a great coin to find if you have any old pennies lying around, as the number 4 spot. But now on to the medalists, beginning with the bronze medal for bronze coins. What date is the 3rd rarest old penny? Taking 3rd place is this coin here, a Victorian penny from the year of 1868. Again, my version here isn't in great condition, but the mintage of this coin is only 1,182,720, so quite a scarce one to find, of course, the 3rd rarest one to find, giving it a sales value today of around £10 again in poor condition, up to around £25 in fine condition, around £100 or so in very fine, £275 plus in extremely fine, and again, well, this one's about £2,800 in uncirculated, so a little bit less, but again, close to that £3,000 mark for the uncirculated grade, and still £10 in a very worn grade, so definitely a coin to look out for, and it is the 3rd rarest of all old pre-decimal pennies. So there we are. Now then, on to the top 2, the silver medalist. What is the 2nd rarest of all the old pennies? It is this coin here, as the 2nd rarest. So the more modern one, this is a George VI penny, and it is from the key date to look out for of 1950. So 1950 is the 2nd rarest year of all old pennies. This coin has a mintage of only 240,000, so less than 250,000 produced of the 1950 pennies, 240,000. Now it is a bit more modern, but it is a bit newer coin, so the prices isn't as high as they are more likely to be found in higher grades, but still, in a poor condition, this will sell for around £10, or the prices begin for these coins around £10. They go up to around £30 to £40 in extremely fine condition, and one of these in uncirculated grade will set you back these days around £60 to £75, depending on the buyer and the luster of the coin as well, how shiny it is and how desirable it is. So there we go, a good value there. You buy a batch of old pennies, often you might be thinking George VI, not too much special about that. Well, it is, if it is from 1950, as that is the 2nd rarest year of all pennies of the old pre-decimal style. But now then, the moment you've all been waiting for, what is the rarest pre-decimal penny that went into circulation? So not the 1933, that didn't circulate. What is the rarest one that you could find in your change back in the day, and that could be in bundles of old coins today, as it isn't stupidly rare? Well, it is from the year... Well, once again, it is from the reign of King George VI, as we can see here. But what is the date? It is, the rarest year in circulation for these old pennies is 1951. That's right, the 1951 is the rarest circulating year of the old pre-decimal penny, with a mintage of just 120,000. That is absolutely crazily low. Just 120,000 produced of these coins, less than an eighth of a million. Really, really small mintage, rare, almost twice as rare as the Kew Gardens in comparison to today's mintages. And of course, these pennies are very highly minted in themselves for so many years. To find one of these would have been a very good achievement. And today they will sell for beginning prices of around £20, up to about £50 in very fine, extremely fine condition, and then about £100 in uncirculated grade. So £100 for a George VI penny in a good high grade, as it is so rare, not so old. But as they didn't circulate for too long, they are easier to find in high grade as they didn't circulate for too many years like the Victorian ones did, getting very worn down. But still, £100 for an old penny is not a bad return. Certainly if you find it in a bulk lot or in a drawer or in the attic upstairs somewhere, definitely look out for 1951. Now, one final thing I will say is I will give an honourable mention to a coin. A coin that deserves an honourable mention is the 1969 penny, as we can see here, that I have purposely left out of the list, as the mintage is unknown for this coin. It is not known by anyone how many pennies were produced with the date 1869. The official number for the mintage of this coin is 2,580,480, so it would have got into the top 10 even with the official mintage figure, but I did not think it fair to add it in, as it is known to be collected by collectors to be so much rarer than about 2.5 million. Collectors of old pennies estimate this coin's mintage to be less than 1 million, or rather there were 2.5 million pennies produced this year, but not all of them are dated 1869. Perhaps they made some few from 1870 early, or a few from 1868 a bit late, and only, I would say by the estimates, less than 1 million were produced with the date 1869. So the only way to see its true mintage is by comparing it to the value. If we look at the value, this will sell for around £25 even in this condition. In fact, this exact coin I've got here, I paid £24.99 for, which is a good price. It will then sell for £150 in fine condition, then over 500 in very fine, closer to £600 in very fine condition, about 2,250 in extremely fine, and around 7,000, just under £7,000 in uncirculated grade. So looking at the prices there, almost £7,000 for uncirculated, you can see it's definitely reflected in the rarity by the prices people will pay. So I definitely would think it's much rarer than 2.5 million, and I see it not fair to enter it into the list as it is unknown, but definitely again one to look out for, and it is, wherever it lands as the mintage, definitely in the top 10. 1869 pennies, a good date to look out for. Like I say, if you just buy an old batch of pennies, looking through your pennies, and you find, oh, that's just a worn one, what's this one from? 1869, even in this condition, £25. So there we go. And so there we go. I have the full set myself. I have all 10 of the top 10 rarest pre-decimal pennies. Comment down below if you do. And to recap, we have 1926, 1894, 1864, 1880, 1878, 1953, 1871, 1868, 1950, and 1951. And, of course, the honourable mention to 1869. And do comment down below whereabouts you think it slots into the list. My personal guess would be to put it here. I would say this one has a mintage of around 800,000, if I could say so. If that would be my bet on that one's mintage. But comment down below yours. Comment down below if you have any of these coins and how you found them. Were you lucky enough to find any of these in big bulk lots, or did you buy them specifically like I did for most of these key dates? Please subscribe if you've enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon for some more coins in the future. And do also comment down below, a lot to comment. Do you want to see a video on the old big pennies and the mintages of these?